everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about something that people ask me a lot about. How can they care for their skin without spending money? So today's video is all about skincare tips that don't cost you a thing. My skin don't cost a thing. So stupid. I'm going to throw out there, some of these tips are highly annoying, right? Like essentially like telling you get some sleep. In fact, we'll make that tip number one, but I'm going to throw out there. Sometimes when people feel like their skin is just not looking their best, I say this all the time actually, it's sometimes what we're doing to our skin, right? Like we sometimes need to have a little bit of a reminder of the things that we can just be doing in our lifestyles that can really change our skin or at least give us our best skin. So these tips are really going to be reminders, and for some people, maybe some aha moments, right? So let's get started with number one, get your sleep. I think this is obvious, right? If you feel tired, if you are exhausted and you don't get sleep, it not only wears your body out, but it actually wears on your skin over time. You know, you've heard the term beauty sleep. There's some truth to it, actually. Your skin heals just like the rest of your body. It recuperates while you're sleeping. So the less sleep you get, the less time that your skin gets to really get back to normal, I guess, and recuperate. But on that note, tip number two is to sleep on your back. I know. Whenever people tell me that, I find it highly annoying because I do not sleep on my back. And in fact, there are all these like chiropractors and people online on TikTok and stuff that say sleeping on your back is actually bad for your body, for your bones. So it's kind of like you're weighing all of your options. But the reason why people say to sleep on your back is really because you don't want to constantly press your face into your pillow. And there is truth to that. You know, a lot of the time, the wrinkles that we tend to see are there because they've been imprinted there for so long. And that also goes with expression lines, right? Like every time we smile, even though smiling is amazing, we are creating these expression lines that are constantly expressing. And so over time, over the years, you're gonna get these lines that form exactly where you express your emotions, your smile and everything, or if you lift your brows and stuff. So you just gotta keep that in mind. Obviously there are like pillows and all that kind of stuff for people who are side sleepers. At least I guess balance things out. If you can, try to sleep on both sides, like swap or something. But if you can sleep on your back, if you can sleep elevated also, because it'll help to, you know, keep that water drainage down a little bit, then you're gonna look a little bit better in the morning. You know what I do? I keep my arm like this, like that, and I kind of sleep like that on it. And so it keeps my face like that. So it's really like my ear that's getting squished. I do that every night. I sleep like this. All right, tip number three, stay hydrated. And here, I'm gonna make it actually less annoying to hear this. I'm not gonna tell you to drink your water, which obviously you need to drink water to survive, but I hear people tell me all the time, I try to drink water. I try to drink so much water, but all I end up doing is peeing it out and stuff. Well, there's truth to that. If you drink too much water, you are going to pee it out, and then it's not going to benefit your skin. What you really need to do to benefit your skin is eat your water-rich foods, your fruits, your vegetables. You can actually even Google this, like what are foods that are rich in water content? And when you eat your hydration, it actually helps replenish your body a lot more. Yes, you need to drink your water. Absolutely get your electrolytes if you're like an athlete or if you're like out in the sun all day, but the way to really stay hydrated is through your fruits and vegetables and other water-rich foods. Something I eat almost like a daily basis is cucumbers. I'm obsessed with cucumbers. I know that this is an obsession that I've passed down to my son. He will eat an entire cucumber in one sitting. He loves cucumbers. I love cucumbers. I never put them on my eyes. I eat them because they're delicious. And it turns out they're rich in water. Now, this next tip, I feel like people don't realize that they do it in the first place. And that tip is to stop touching your face. And I'm not saying like when you touch your face to put your skincare products on or you're doing your makeup or anything like that. I mean, during the day, pay attention to how often you touch your face. You will be out and about. You will pick up your phone a little bit. You'll touch other stuff. You might even go eat. And then afterwards, if you don't wash your hands, which is kind of gross if you hadn't thought about that, it's like a habit that I teach my kids all the time is after they eat, go wash your hands, right? But I see people do this all the time. I'm an adult. I've seen people do this for over 40 years. They will eat their lunch and then they'll go back to work or something and they don't even wash their hands, right? The point of that is that your hands, your fingers get so dirty throughout the day, and we tend to touch our faces a lot. And a lot of the time we don't realize it. I didn't think I touched my face at all during the day until the pandemic hit. And then like one of the first things that they told us was to stop touching our faces. I don't know if anyone remembers this. It like eventually became something that they debunked that, oh, it was fine. Like you're not really spreading it through your fingers and stuff. But in the beginning of the pandemic, one of the things that we were told was not to touch our face, like try not to touch your face. And then when I became really aware of it, I noticed that I was touching my face so much. So stop touching your face, because you can be transferring such gross bacteria that leads to clogged pores and to pimples and everything. Just stop touching your face. I think a good segue into the next tip is to also not pick at your face. And I mean, like, don't pick at your pimples. If you feel a little bump, don't start to scratch it. If you like feel something like a flaky piece of skin when you're like, oh, you suddenly like feel something, don't pick at it. It's not going to help your skin. Picking your pimples is one of the worst things you can do for your skin. I know, again, I always say this, like, I used to do a lot of these things too, and it has changed my skin to stop doing these things. I used to pick my pimples all the time. I used to get satisfaction out of popping my pimples. But what you get stuck with is hyperpigmentation. Worse, you can get acne scars, like the deep ice pick acne scars that are much harder to deal with, by the way. The hyperpigmentation too. You can cause more pimples. You can cause irritation. Like if you pick at a little piece of skin and then you pull it and then it turns into, like a little bit of a scab or something, that's not good for your skin. You're causing trauma. So just make sure that you're not touching your face and you're not picking at your face. And that also leads into the next tip. And you have heard me say this so many times, and that is to be gentle with your skin. This is probably the tip that I give to everybody, because if you've watched my reaction videos, if you've heard me talk about skin and how people apply their skincare or how they wash their faces, you've probably seen me say, you need to be gentle with your skin. What you think is fine right now, like I see people like scrubbing their faces and then it's super red afterwards. I see people using massage tools and they just like go to town. They don't put any kind of oil or moisturizer to give it some slip, and they're really, really rough with it. I see people picking at their skin, all of these things. You have to be gentle with your skin, because all of that damage that you're constantly causing to your skin will eventually catch up to you. I promise it will catch up to you. Every single time you are rough with your skin, you are just making a mark that is going to eventually catch up when you are older. So be gentle with your skin. It's the easiest thing you can possibly do, is treat your skin like baby skin. The next one is to clean your makeup brushes. This is one of the ones that I have the hardest time following because I'm so lazy. One of my biggest issues with makeup brushes is that if I wash it, if it doesn't dry fast enough, then I need it the next day, then it's so hard for me to use it, and the timing of it and everything. And it also feels like a chore amongst all my other chores that I have to do, like actually cleaning up after my kids, right? So it's really hard to get myself to do this, but I know that when I start to get clogged pores in very specific areas on my cheek, I know that was my fault. I know I caused that because I'm using dirty makeup brushes. I've gotten so much better over the last few years, mostly because I made it one of my resolutions a few years ago. I also use my hands a lot when I'm applying makeup too, so I think I stopped using as many brushes. But I used to consistently get these breakouts that were right here on my cheek. It was just like a lot of clogged pores. What I used to think it was the actual makeup, but the culprit was my dirty makeup brushes. All that bacteria forming, just applying it over and over and over again. There's old makeup built up on it and you're applying that to your face. It can't be good for your skin. Of course, you're gonna have clogged pores if you don't wash your makeup brushes. And P.S., your makeup will apply better if you wash your brushes, because if they're all gunked up, it's not gonna look as good. They're not gonna apply as well. The next tip I think is actually really interesting, but I got it from celebrity esthetician Renee Rouleau. And I say it's interesting because it's one that I don't know if a lot of us think about, but that tip is to hang your head upside down off the side of your bed. And here's the reason for that. Renee basically explained to me, and this is true. that as you age, your blood flow, like you always kind of need to it kind of slows down. That circulation that gives you the rosiness and stuff, it starts to slow down. And what happens is you go from being like rosy and fresh faced to eventually looking almost grayish. So one of the ways that she tries to prevent this is to hang upside down and to just let that blood kind of rush to her head. And then she goes on for the rest of her day. Like she does it maybe for like 5-10 minutes each day. And then she goes on and she feels like she looks a little bit more rosy and youthful every single day. You've heard me talk about how massage is really good for that, to just, get like your lymphatic drainage and get all that circulation and stuff. These are the reasons to do that, is because you want to have that rosy, youthful look. Speaking of massage, another great tip. Again, this is going to sound weird because I said don't touch your face, but it's different. Wash your hands and then massage your face with your hands. These babies are free and you can get a great massage using your hands. There is a woman I follow on Instagram named Patricia San Pedro. She is so good at face massage techniques and she uses tools, but she also uses her hands. She'll like do things like this where she's using her knuckles, she's using her fingers, and she just has all these great massage tips for her face. And I follow some of them. They are such easy tips. It's so easy to massage your face using your hands and it's free. So make sure that you're getting a little massage in there. You don't have to buy a fancy tool. You can if you want to, but if you want a free way to massage your face, turns out you've got it. The last tip is a really important one, and that is to not smoke or drink alcohol. And whenever I say this, people kind of roll their eyes at me, but if you really want to prevent aging and look your best, you seriously have to cut all that out. I mean, smoking, I think is like by far the most important one, because smoking is just bad for every aspect of your life and your body and your wellness and your skin. I always think of this story where a celebrity esthetician told me that she worked on a very famous male celebrity, and he was such a big time smoker that when she would go to extract his pores, it like makes me want to barf a little bit. She would like extract a pimple and you could smell smoke, like just gross smoke come out of his pores. Disgusting. But drinking alcohol also, if you look at all the mature celebrities out there, the ones that really look good, that don't look like they're exhausted and worn out over time, the ones that you're like, man, you are a timeless, ageless beauty. These are people who have stopped drinking alcohol or who rarely drink alcohol. Alcohol is so bad for your body and for your skin, especially over time. I know that everyone has always tried to push this whole narrative that drinking wine is good for your health. And there's obviously some truth to, getting the antioxidants, that resveratrol from your red wine. But when you really dig into all of those studies, they mean like a very highly concentrated amount of resveratrol. You would like need all of that to really get the benefits. I'm sure having a glass of wine here and there is not going to hurt you. But if you really look at people who have really great skin, even when they are much older, they don't drink. They do not drink alcohol because it just ruins them. It ruins their skin. It dries you out. It doesn't make you feel good and you don't get sleep. It's just this endless cycle when you're drinking alcohol on a regular basis. So if you really care about your skin, you would skip the alcohol. And I know that sounds annoying to a lot of people because they don't want to believe that, because they love their alcohol. But I'm telling you, your best skin is when you are alcohol free. So those are my free skincare tips. You're welcome. I'm sure there are so many more that we could add to the list. If you are looking for ways to care for your skin and you want it to be cost effective, this isn't free, but honestly, the most basic, important skincare routine you can have, it's really to just make sure you cleanse, make sure it's not stripped, not irritated, just perfectly cleansed. Make sure you moisturize at night, and in the daytime, make sure you wear your sunscreen. That is by far the most cost-effective, most simple way to care for your skin when it comes to skincare products. All of the other stuff, those are all bonus products. So just make sure you're doing that, and you should have really good, well-preserved skin, especially with your sunscreen. If you guys have anything to add, any questions, anything like that, just mention it in the comments below. You can find me on Instagram and on TikTok at Susan Yara, and I'll talk to you soon. My skin don't cost a thing. Yeah.